was just going to run through a few of the highlights of our last year, if there's time for that. Since this time last year, well, we had a very successful Refugee Week launch in our Town Hall Square on Saturday 14th of June last year. We're planning to repeat that again this month. So we had a lot of people who picked up leaflets and information and just chatted to us about City of Sanctuary and went away knowing a little bit more on the day, and got the programme for the events of Refugee Week in Leicester as well. So hopefully they had the opportunity to join in other things. Then in July we had a very successful open meeting which the theme was young people, young asylum seeking, unaccompanied children. We had some wonderful presentations, including one from some young people from Leicestershire's Dreamers Youth Club in Loughborough. And that was, I think, we had a really good discussion and learned quite a lot from that. In August, there was a coach trip to the seaside, to Hunstanton, and that came about because a local church heard about the appeal we'd made for food for destitute asylum seekers, and they offered to fund a trip to the coast for the British Red Cross's destitute asylum seeker clients. And they had a wonderful day out and a picnic on the beach, a mass paddle in the sea. It was an amazing, amazing trip, and the anecdote that everybody tells from that day is that there was a Somali man who was on the trip, and he sat on the beach and he was looking really upset, really emotional, really moved, and somebody went to him and said, "Are you all right? What's the matter?" And he said, "Yes, I'm just so happy. I was a fisherman in Somalia, and I haven't seen the sea for 4 years." So that was just something really moving. We had a speaker meeting in October when Canon Nick Zagowski came from London and addressed a very big meeting in Leicester Secular Hall about the recommendations of the Independent Asylum Commission. We also had our local MP, Sir Peter Soulsby, who also spoke at that meeting very supportively. And then in December, just before Christmas, we had, again, thanks to a very generous individual donation, a big seasonal celebration of Sanctuary. We, the same church who had funded the trip to the seaside, hosted basically a Christmas meal where we catered for 200 destitute asylum seekers, and we got, over 100. 120 people actually came, had a meal and an afternoon's entertainment, and had a really good time. And then in January we had another open meeting just for our supporting groups, where we asked them, it was called "But What Can We Do?" and we asked them to think about what they could go away and do themselves as groups and organisations.
We had the conference at the same time last year. This was in the same week in June. We had two City of Sanctuary groups at that time. We had Sheffield, which had just recently become an official City of Sanctuary, and Leicester City of Sanctuary group as well. And 1 year later, we now have at least 10 groups, I think, around the country from, I'm going to see if I can remember them all now, it's going to be a challenge. Sheffield, Leicester, Bradford, Coventry, Nottingham, Bristol, Swansea, Oxford, London, Hull and Ipswich, and possibly others which are bubbling a lot under, where there's interest in setting up movements as well. So, I mean, it's just been an amazing year for me, and some of the real highlights for my year have been going to some of the launches for City of Sanctuary groups. I went to the launches in Bradford, Coventry, Bristol, Swansea and London this year, which were amazing events, in all lots of different ways. There's been a wonderful celebration in Bradford with the drumming and a sense of, a whole community really already had something to celebrate, the wonderful solidarity there and the wonderful friendships, and there was a real palpable feeling of that. In Swansea, I remember, you know, it was amazing. They had this big school hall, and it was absolutely packed, you know, and they were amazed, I think, with the number of people came, and they were right across the city, you know, there was the police, and there was the fire, and there was the MP, and there was councillors, and there was the teachers, and there was the universities, and everybody was there. There was a sense that already, you know, just at this launch stage, there was a sense that this idea and these relationships were reaching everybody. So I want to thank you all, everybody who's been involved in making this movement grow over the last year, because I mean, for me it's just been a wonderful experience. And to go to, you know, every time we go to a different city, to meet people I've, you know, never met before, but recognise this kinship with, there's this enthusiasm, there's this passionate solidarity and friendship with people seeking sanctuary in this country, and you know, what a great thing that is to know that actually that is happening all over the country. Any more back there?
Smallest.